So I'll give you one more hint about my teaching methodology that hopefully will help you understand how to work with the information that I provide you in this class. And that is that I try very hard to make extremely simple and straightforward and bright line distinctions between things. For example, between HTML and XML, or between relational databases and hierarchical storage systems like XML is. I make those differentiations because before you understand the difference between two things, it's very hard to tell them apart. It's very hard to know where one ends and the other begins. So I'll go to great lengths to pull things apart, to say HTML and XML are extremely different. HTML is a formatting language and XML is a structural language, etc., etc. And I'll try to make those distinctions extremely clear. And then as soon as I've made that distinction extremely clear, I'll put them back together again and say, well, actually, HTML and XML are really just instances of the same thing. So there's a dialectic going on in the way that I teach this material, which is I try as hard as possible to clearly differentiate two subjects from each other, and then as soon as that's done, I put them back together again. So you'll see later in the class that we'll talk about 4 basic ways of structure of accessing information: hierarchies and indexes and cross-references and sequences. And I try very hard to tell you that they're very distinct. And then we go on a little bit later and put them all back together again and say, well, the world isn't quite that simple. There's no simple dichotomy between any two things in the world. They're different in many ways, but at a deeper level, they're similar. Or at a higher level, they're similar. So you have to be able to deal with that constant pulling things apart and then slamming them back into each other. And what you should understand inside yourself is, am I at the point where I really don't understand these two things and so I need to pull them apart? And when Bob starts to slam them back together again, I'm going to stop listening because I'm not ready to slam them back together again because I haven't pulled them far enough apart. But at the very moment where you've got them clearly separated in your mind, that's exactly the moment to try and come to some higher understanding and put them back together again. And that's what we'll do.